I'm Professor MoneyPigTrading, former PhD drug researcher, now data scientist and trader. And today, October 23rd, 2021, we're going to talk about US COVID-19 stocks. The last time we made the video is in August, and now there's a lot of update in this area, so let's make a new video. So really quick disclaimer, we currently are holding BNTX and Merck stocks and long the call options, and we're not registered financial advisors, so please invest at your own risks. First of all, let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers in US. You can see the Delta wave has been dropping. This is the daily new cases, which is great. But of course, we want the case number to drop to 0. If we're looking at a COVID-19 number worldwide, you basically can see the Delta variant wave is dropping worldwide as well, especially in North America, but also Southeast Asia. Many countries actually put the daily new cases almost to 0. Or at 0, which is pretty nice. However, in Europe, especially UK, there's a new Delta Plus variants coming up, and that's why you're seeing the worldwide cases actually not dropping and just stay at this level. And because UK, the Delta Plus, probably potentially 15% more contagious than Delta itself. And right now, US is going to open the air traffic to Europe in November. We're going to see if that can bring the Delta Plus variants back to US and potentially make another wave in US into this winter. Fingers crossed, but hopefully not. We'll see. Since we're going to talk about several biotech and pharmaceutical names, if you don't want to cherry pick any of them, you can just long XLV, which is a BlackRock biotech ETF. And basically, you can see the daily downtrend is actually breaking down above the daily downtrend 4-day EMA cross. We believe sometime in November and December is going to test all-time high and potentially break through the all-time high at 137. The TDM squeeze is also changing colors. And yeah, a lot of important clinical trials, not only in the COVID-19 field, but also like in oncology. So we definitely think some of them will have pretty good news and promote the whole industry here. So let's take a look at the COVID-19 drug first. So the first thing, of course, we're going to talk about is Merck. We're actually posting social media in Instagram, Twitter, before Merck actually got its COVID-19 drug good clinical trial results published. Back to that time, you probably cannot see, but the Merck daily chart here was traded at 73, and we actually added in our long-term investment Discord channel at around 72. And yeah, now Merck's nicely breaking up. After the good news come out, it shoot up from $75 to $85, and a lot of profit taking touching the EMA support around 77, 78 level. This is a Merck daily chart, by the way. And now quickly pushing back up because the AVIR, the pharmaceutical company, their COVID drug, which is the same class as the Merck COVID-19 drug, actually failed. So the Merck have one less competitor in the field, and the price quickly jumped from $77 back to $81 level in 2 days. And right now, this sideways consolidating. And the FDA decision on the Merck COVID-19 oral drug is on November 30th. So we should see more continuation of the interest of this stock and push potentially to a range high at $85. And basically, this Merck drug, MK 4482, actually reduced at-risk mild COVID patients hospitalization and death by 50%. I know a lot of scientists and the medical group community actually have concern about this MK 4482 because in our last YouTube video we mentioned about its chemical structure. It looks like a nucleoside, human nucleoside, and actually in some animal studies show some toxicity. But in our humble opinion, FDA allowed the human clinical trial. That means the long-term side effects should be pretty low. Especially for MK 4482, a lot of patients who take this drug is only 2 pills a day and for 5 days. It's a pretty short-term usage. We do think the long-term chronic effect potentially causing reproduction mutation could be quite low. And we think if the risk is high, like again, we don't think FDA will approve the human clinical trial. But anyway, the details of the side effect right now is not clear. The company hasn't published a lot of details on the phase 3 trial results. But based on the phase 3 trial preliminary results, the amount of patients in the placebo group who drop off a trial is actually more than the amount of patients in the experimental group who drop off. So that means probably there's no any short-term strong toxicity that will make the patient so sick and they cannot continue the treatment. So we think that's a very good sign for this drug to be approved by FDA, since the first one in the class. And also it's an orally available drug, so that means it's way easier and way less costly and then those IV or IM kind of COVID-19 drug. The FDA will make a decision on their emergency authorization on November 30th. Again, we think it's very highly likely to get approved because it's the first drug, and then the world is really needing this kind of orally available drug to fight against this pandemic. However, the labeling is a key, right? Maybe they will limit the labeling to a very, very small group of patients, like what Merck does in their clinical trials. Like you have some pre-existing condition like diabetes, then you are eligible for that particular drug. Most likely, if you're a healthy adult but got COVID, the labeling might not recommend this drug. We'll have to see. But in my humble opinion, very likely pregnant women might not be eligible for this drug. And again, we check this chemical structure. I forgot to put it here. It's actually a small molecule, look like our nucleoside. And I also check the synthetic route. It'll only take 5 to 6 steps. So it's pretty easy to produce in great scale. So it's also a great thing for Merck and the whole world that this drug can be widely distributed very quickly. Right now in 2021, Merck decided to produce 1 million courses, and each course is $700. So right now, just by December itself, if FDA approved this drug, EUA approval, Merck will generate $700 million of sales right away. Based on our estimate, in-house estimate, 2022, we estimate that Merck will produce 10 million courses. With 700 per course, that will generate $7 billion of sales. And roughly that will promote Merck's fair market valuation to $95 per share. Again, that's a rough estimate because it's really hard to estimate when's the peak of COVID-19 and how much competitors will, and also not to mention the labeling that we just discussed. And usually to value a biotech's valuation, you have to look at their drug's peak sale, and that particular number of peak sale in dollars amount multiplied by 4 or 5 times is the fair valuation for that particular biotech or pharmaceutical company. So again, a lot of rough estimate there, but that's one of the reasons we think Merck has a lot more potential to the upside. And the other thing we want to mention is the AVIR, that this week the clinical trial for the same nucleotide small molecule for COVID-19 early drug, available drug, failed. And because of that, their collaboration with Roche, that drug failed. You can see on the right side, AVIR actually dropped from $40 all the way to $10, so 75% drop. On the other hand, Roche, they have the stock tickers are RHHBY. Their stock price on the daily chart is actually holding up fine because they also have another COVID-19 drug in their pipeline. Not to mention they have a lot of different other pipelines in their drug pipeline. So it's pretty solid name. Right now we have to see how their COVID-19 oral drug available does perform. If they perform well with good phase 3 trial results, potentially you could see some pullback on Merck, but they definitely are behind Merck in terms of releasing this drug to the market, since they haven't fully announced their preliminary phase 3 trial results. And also we think Merck COVID-19 drug is just a plus for them. They actually are a tiger itself without the COVID-19 drug. First of all, we really like Merck, and we also mentioned our Discord community and the social media, is that 2022, their cancer drug sales actually started to improve into 2023. And that's one of the key reasons their stock price has been pounding so hard. If you look at the chart, it has been traded between $72 to $82, not breaking out together with the whole US stock market. And the other thing a lot of investors don't realize is they actually have a contract with the Moderna cancer vaccine, which is really big catalyst for Moderna vaccine itself. They actually have a 50% global profit sharing with Merck should any of this personalized cancer vaccine get approved and get released into the market potentially in 2023 or 2024. And when that happens, we can see Merck will generate a lot more annual revenues and have a potential more upside potentially in 2023. The other thing I want to talk about is Pfizer, and here is a daily chart. You can see it has been sell off since it peaked at $51 in August, and now pull back to the EMA 100-day EMA support 40.92, and now 40-day EMA cross start to break the daily downtrend. We do think potentially it can push back to $44 to $45 until the end of at the end of this year. Actually, they have a really solid drug pipeline this year. The stock price also get punished because they have a lot of patents expire, like we mentioned in the last August video. But they have 100 pipelines running in clinical trials. So very solid name. Sooner or later, I think they're going to break out, and some of their clinical trials will be successful for sure. And not to mention, they also have COVID-19 oral drug. Q4, they will release the phase 2 and 3 trial results. Again, they're behind Merck. Very unlikely they will release this drug before Merck. But looking at the chemical structure here, it's actually potentially have less side effect. But again, it's just a speculative thought. We'll have to see the phase 2 and 3 trial results. The other sector we should look at is the COVID-19 vaccine. One of them really likes BNTX. Has an earning coming out on November 19. We do expect the top line earnings with good beating the guidance and revenue and an EPS guidance. However, usually for a biotech name like this, earnings is not the major driving force for this particular stock. Now it's traded based on a lot of news, right? Like whether it has a good clinical trial results coming out in next week, whether together with their partner Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine will get approved for age 5 children or not. If yes, we're going to see more breakout to this giant daily downtrend where it peaked at 464 in August, just like Pfizer, and got a pretty heavy sell off to 230 and holding this 100-day EMA support at 230 and now started to curl back up for a day EMA cross and breaking this daily downtrend. We do think this BNTX, BNTX, this fair value is around 250 to 270 based on their current contract signed with the worldwide governments. However, like we mentioned on the Merck slide, it's really hard to estimate when COVID and its drugs will peak. So it's really hard to estimate the valuation here as well. So that's estimated based on the current contract signed again. Again, it's a very rough numbers. However, there's a really big catalyst coming out for BNTX. They actually have 4 or 5 cancer vaccine phase 1/2 trial results coming up in their conference between November 12th and November 14th. Based on how successful they are for their mRNA technology, COVID-19 vaccine, we do think it's very promising for the cancer vaccine being released next month. Should they announce good clinical trial results, we should see a giant leap on their stock price because that can bring a huge amount of potential revenue in the future for the company. And if they can really release a cancer vaccine as the first company in the world, I do think potentially this will be a 4-digit stock down the road. But again, that's very long term, like 2023, 2024. Just keep in mind. So the other cancer vaccine name, Moderna, actually we liked it last year since we still think it's a little bit overvalued right now. We think the fair market value around for Moderna is around $300. But right now it's also trying to break in the daily downtrend and trying to push out. It also has cancer vaccine coming out. The phase 1/2 clinical trial results will be released in Q1 next year. So behind BNTX, and that's why we haven't loaned Moderna so far. Should BNTX report good cancer vaccine trial results in the upcoming 2 to 3 weeks, we do think Moderna will also see a lift as well. NVAX is the last one I want to discuss. Really bad name, actually delays this COVID-19 vaccine FDA approval until the second half of 2022 because of their COVID-19 vaccine cannot get a purification requirement FDA request, which is 90%. Right now, their COVID-19 vaccine is only at 70% purification. And this company is horrible in a way on their execution and their production. They have been is a 20 years old company. Okay, they haven't produced any single vaccine. And you look at the past stock price, actually traded at $200, $300 and pushed back down to $3 at one point. And because of COVID-19, finally pushed up to $330 back to February this year, and then started have a really big range, super volatile. And finally, in July, August, they started to announce good phase 2-3 trial results on their COVID-19 vaccine. They finally break this daily downtrend, reclaim 270. And with a series of setbacks they announced in the past 1 month and a half, they now quickly pushed down to 134. Especially this FDA decision will be delayed until second half of next year. Thursday, they gapped down another 15%. So I would definitely won't hold this NVAX for now. We just think it's a really bad company compared to Moderna and BNTX, in our humble opinion. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we just want to highlight we have a solid, robust swing trading program, mostly option based, but now start to also have stock trading in our swing trading program. One of the members who joined after a month, his account was able to grow from $2,000 to $12,000. That's at 540%. I forgot to put a slide. We also have a benchmarking small account. We were able to grow that account from May. From $1,500 all the way right now it's traded at $12,000. So it's about 800% growth. And long-term investments, more stock focus. And right now this year we have 66 in and out. An average return per trade is 17.33% with a winning rate of 75%. Pretty decent. So if you're interested in our Discord community, feel free to check out more details at www.MoneyPigTrading.com, and don't forget to follow us on social media, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, or MoneyPigTrading. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.